Hear me. I know you're gonna dig this.
They'll go to second for one, and now they got the man trapped at third and tag him out. And second and two, handoff goes to McCaffrey up the middle, finds a little room, lock on, and he's off to the races.
Welcome to the In the Zone Sports Talk Radio Network. You're listening to the Just Us Sports Talk Show with your host, Kate Diggs from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the sports city with the large heart, and co-host Dana the Hater Clark from St. Petersburg, Florida. Also co-hosting Murray E. Baskerville from Gotta Be More Careful, Baltimore, Maryland. These are your hosts, bringing you the ultimate in sports for the ultimate sports fan. Be sure to download the Try99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support. Now sit back and prepare to get into another episode of the Just Us Sports Talk Show.
Hear me. I know you're gonna dig this.
What's up, everybody? Hey, it's Friday night. Just got paid. Going out and get shaded. That ain't how the song go, but it is Friday night and I did get paid. So what's going on, everybody? How y'all doing out there? Hey, we're on tonight because my week has been busy. My scoreboard keeping days is over. Soccer team didn't do too well. Freshman team did pretty good. JV team did pretty good. But the high school team's in playoffs. Now I get back to sit back and watch or film or whatever, but I don't have to be on the scoreboard. So my Monday should be okay for the month of November until December get here. Then I got basketball. Busy. But I love it because it's all about sports, and I love being around the kids. Sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes. And speaking of the kids, I want to give a shout out. Well, I want to give a prayer for a young man. I can't remember his name. He got shot yesterday, and they said he's recovering well. But let them know that we're praying for him. These young people out here just don't understand how valuable life is. To take a life, it's a lot. It's a lot. Being in the military, I'm telling you, taking a life is a lot. It takes a certain type of person to want to take somebody's life and have no regrets or morals about that. So hopefully he'll recover well and he'll have a good life, prosperous life, and get an opportunity to finish school. Also want to say a prayer for Fernando Venezuela. My man from the Dodgers passed away a couple of days ago. Young guy, I think he was 63 years old. Very young guy. Being a Dodger fan, watching that guy play. I was in the military, and he was a special guy. He was a special guy. He always look up in the sky. You know, the blue skies is blue for them Dodgers. So, saying a prayer. Condolences to his family as well. That's pretty much it, man. So let's get started. Who we got on the line with us? We got let's see who we got Rich. You out there, Rich?
Yeah, I'm out here. I'll be listening mostly because I'm at the barber shop.
Okay. Let them listen in too. They may want to comment on the barbershop. That used to be my first show. My first show was named the barbershop. You know what I'm saying? That's weird. We got Matthew. He out there.
What's up?
And then we got who else we got out here? We got Curry. He's in the house.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, and hopefully you get Mo on the line and Dana on the line. Dana said he will be a little bit late again, but that's okay. So guys, before we get started, let's get this out the way. I got my Dodgers in 6. Matthew, what you got, Matthew?
I got the Yankees in 6.
Yankees in 6. Math. Curry, who you got?
I got the Dodgers in 5 or 6, and the only reason I say 6 is because the Dodgers may want to wait till they get back home to celebrate on their own field.
Okay. Rich, what you got?
Dodgers in 5.
You said the Dodgers in 5. Ooh. Dodgers in 5. So, so Curry, he said why he felt the Dodgers would win in 5 or 6 because they might want to win it at home. Matthew, you got the Yankees winning at 4 and 2. Tell me tell me why you think the Yankees can win that. If they win it in 2, if they win it in 6, that means they win it on the road at the Dodgers. So what's telling you, or what have you seen with the Yankees that have you believing that they can do it in 6 games?
I believe their pitching is going to be what gets them to win the World Series. Like you compare the hitting on both teams, but when you look at it by the end of the day, the Dodgers during their regular season, at most of the time, their main issue I've seen is the pitching, not their starting, but once you get in their mid card throughout the middle towards the end of the game. But other than that, I feel like the Yankees have a shot as their pitching, I believe, is more healthier and a little bit more stronger than the Dodgers.
Okay. Curry, you want to elaborate why you feel the Dodgers could win it in 5 or maybe in 6?
Sure. Look at the path that the Yankees took to get there. They beat the Cleveland Guardians and the Kansas City Royals, two of the most ice cold teams going down the stretch of the second half. And the Royals had the 10th best record in the second half. Cleveland had the 12th best record in the second half. Well, I think the 12 teams make the playoffs. So look at that, and look at the best players for the Yankees. Aaron Judge, he's hitting 160, 2 home runs in 2 rounds of playoffs. And on the flip side, Mookie Betts hitting 295 with 4 homers and 12 RBIs. Ohtani, 286 with 12 RBIs. See, their best players is rocking and rolling. They hot right now. And it's about being hot at the right time. And I just think that the Dodgers have got hot. It's not even going to be it's not going to be competitive at all, I don't think. I look for the Yankees to win 1. They could win 2, like I say, just because the Dodgers may want to win it on their own turf. But don't expect this to be the Dodgers and Yankees World Series of years gone by. But that's not going to happen. The Yankees team is not built for that, where the Dodgers are built. They're going to win this team. And let me preface this by saying, I don't have a dog in the fight. I don't care which one wins. But, hey, it is what it is. I mean, the Dodgers are just hot right now.
Okay. And guys, of course, you guys know I'm a Dodger fan, so I'm definitely pulling for the Dodgers. What really impressed me the most with the Dodgers was the Padres was hard. That's the team they had to get by. I felt when they got past the Padres, I said, okay, now we cooking with gas, right? But I wanted to play the Phillies because the Phillies swept us when we came to Philadelphia, and Patrick definitely let me know it um, when they swept them. But at the time that they swept them, I don't think Mookie was playing. The pitching was up and down, and even now they still don't have the pitching that they need. And they went about getting to the World Series in a different way because two series they pitched the bullpen um, through 9 innings of baseball, which to me I think that's harder to prepare for because you have an ideal as a Yankee fan. I mean, as Yankees, you might have an idea of who's going to pitch, but you don't know how long they're going to pitch. Um, so that right there takes attention to detail, and I don't know if they can deal with that. As far as the Dodgers are concerned, the pitching is a concern for me. Um, because they gave a lot of runs, but they made up a lot of runs too. Um, what I was really impressed with the bottom half of the batting order came through. And you see, Edmonds got the MVP for the Dodgers. But I think, like Curry said, I think they're cooking with gas right now. Um, this is a year for them. I think I'm glad they're playing the Yankees. 'Cause I hate the Yankees, and so my bragging rights would be good, nice and long for Mo if the Dodgers do win the World Series. So it comes on tonight. Should be. I think it's going to be a decent series. Um, I mean, everybody else has not too many people have the Yankees winning. Um, the thing about it is, hopefully, if the Dodgers can win two at home, um, that's cool with me. Because they got to come to New York, and I didn't even get a chance to check the weather, but hopefully those games won't be
Weather should be good.
them games should be played. To me, I think they should be played at 3 o'clock in the afternoon because the weather here after 7 when the sun goes down, it gets really cold. The vibration of the bats does something to your hands with gloves on or without gloves on. That's the only thing about the World Series I don't really like is now. And I mean, we're looking at it's the days of 25th, so this World Series could end up going into excuse me, it could end up going into November if it were to go 7 games, at least 7 games. It could go into November, and I think that's a little bit too long. Be playing baseball, well, especially on the East Coast when the weather could be tricky.
And Kevin, let me piggyback off something you said.
Go ahead.
When you said that, just like I said, that the Yankees, they had the easiest path because they beat the two coldest teams. And like you just said, excuse me, the Dodgers beat two of the hottest teams. The Padres had the best record in the second half,
yes,
going down the stretch. And that's also a division rival too. So you beat that, you got that too, and then the Mets were pretty strong going down the stretch too. So I just think that the two paths that the Dodgers have already been battle tested. Yankees, they haven't even been battle tested,
Yeah.
and like I say, their best player is only hitting 160.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a good series. The football picks, I left the picks at work because I was trying to get it done at work, which I didn't get it done. But I do have the schedule for the 8th week. Curry and Matthew, did y'all already do the picks for this week coming up or not?
Yeah, I already got my picks in for this week.
Okay. All right, so let's take a look then at the must-see games for this week. You have Baltimore at Cleveland, Tennessee at Detroit, Indianapolis at Houston, Green Bay at Jacksonville, Arizona at Miami, the Jets at New England, Atlanta at Tampa, Chicago at Washington, New Orleans at the Los Angeles Chargers, Buffalo at Seattle, Philly at Cincinnati, Carolina at Denver, Kansas City at Vegas, Dallas at the 49ers and the Giants at Pittsburgh. Now, if we at the beginning of the year, if we looked at the schedule week 8 from the prediction that we all predicted and the analysts predicted, um, we would have thought that maybe the Rams and Minnesota game was a must see. As we know, the Rams won that game last night. We would have thought that Baltimore and Cleveland would be a must see. Um, then we probably have to go down a little bit. Maybe the Jets and New England. No, not them. Um,
Cowboys 49ers.
Cowboys 49ers would definitely be a must see. Philadelphia would be a must see. But they're not must sees now. So I think the Chicago game against Washington would have been a must see if Jaden Daniels was playing, but he's not playing. But then you had your boy step in there and didn't if you wasn't a Washington Commander fan, you didn't know. I mean, we knew later on that he was out, but you would never knew by the score. So the system that they have is working, because you had the backup quarterback come in and play really well for this team, and so you have Washington, who's surprisingly 4-1. They're looking really, really good right now. And there were some people that actually felt like they was going to be better this year than a lot of us thought they were, other than Washington Redskins fans. I think this Buffalo at Seattle game is going to be big. Okay. Seattle is to me it's a must win for Seattle. That keeps them in first place at 4-2. Philadelphia and Cincinnati. This is good. This should be a good game because Philly got all their pieces back. And Cincinnati has won 2 in a row. So we'll see. Well, yeah, this got the wrong. They got the wrong numbers on it, but yeah. So getting back to Philly, and this one has Cincinnati minus 3.5, and then you have even though Kansas City and Vegas is they got Kansas City minus 4.5, but it's a divisional rival game, so it's going to be good. The Dallas San Francisco game is up in the air to me because the reason why I give Dallas the edge is because they have more healthy players on offense than they do than 49ers. 49ers been hit with the bug. You got Ayuk is out with the ACL tear. You have Jennings, he's out as well, and then you have the other wide receiver. He had pneumonia, but I don't know if he's going to play this week or not. Rich, is Deebo Samuels? Is he going to make an appearance this weekend or not?
Yeah, they said he's going to play.
Okay, so he does have a weapon back there. But now,
let's just say he practiced limited yesterday. They gave him a rest day if he practices tomorrow. But he said he's leaving for his player.
So now, guys, check this out. So it's weird because let me say this to you. If we went to the doctors today with the symptoms he had, they would tell us we had COVID, because I haven't heard nobody say they had pneumonia since COVID, but they came out and said he had pneumonia. So why is it that 1 minute we have pneumonia, the next minute is COVID? And I think because with COVID, you got to stay away from everybody. You know what I'm saying? And so that's their take on, if you have COVID, you got to stay away from people, period. So then you got to stay. So if they come back and say he got pneumonia, he can come back and play. And hopefully, and if you ever had pneumonia before, it's not a good feeling. It's really bad. So hopefully he'll get his health back together and he can come help San Francisco salvage this year, because it's really rough for them right now. And as we thought going forward that this will be the year for the 49ers, we're seeing that they're having a rough time competing right now, because injuries has played a big part in not winning. But this takes me back, guys, to the conversation we was having last year about the quarterback play. If he don't have all the pieces, can he be that dude to get them over the hump? And so That was my whole take on him. I never said he wasn't good. I just said, is he that guy that can step up and put his team on his shoulders and win some games? And they're 3-4 right now. They lost last week, and so we're gonna see where San Francisco ends up being. So, Rich, got a question for you about 49ers. If let's say the 49ers miss the playoffs or they get in the first round, let's say they get so let's say they win, they get a wild card and they lose. Do you still give Purdy that 60 plus mil, or do you tell him, no, we need to come back and we're not going to give you that much because we're going to have to add some pieces because you even said that you don't think Deebo Samuel will be back next year on the offensive side of the ball. Kittles is getting a little older too. So give me your take on what you think they might negotiate or might start at the price range for Purdy.
I mean, he's probably going to hit 50, at least 55. But I can't see him being less than that because he's been to an NFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. Okay. So if he even makes the wild card with the kind of makeshift offense that he's working with, mm-hmm. I mean, I'm thinking $55 million at least.
Okay.
I really couldn't. I mean, they're going to have to revamp the offense, but it's going to be through the draft mostly.
Right. Okay.
Hey, let me take on that.
Go ahead.
I don't think that Purdy's going to be nowhere near $50 million unless he wins the Super Bowl. He's already been to the Super Bowl, then win it. So now you're only doing it. Only thing you can do if you don't win the Super Bowl is go backwards. And San Francisco's already shown that they ain't going to pay a whole bunch of money for a quarterback. I mean, they had Garoppolo took him to the Super Bowl. He didn't miss, but they moved off of him. And I can see them moving off of Brock Purdy too. Because John Lynch is pretty aggressive when it comes to making moves. And I can see them say, if it don't work out this year for Purdy, I can see them moving off of him and probably putting together some kind of package deal where they can move up and get one of these quarterbacks if they don't trade for one.
Wow. So Kerry, let me ask you a question. Do you see anybody in the NFL right now?
There's no way that happens.
Do you see anybody in the NFL right now, quarterback wise, that could come to San Francisco and step in and be an instant winner, or try to get them over the hump that Purdy and Garoppolo couldn't do right now in the NFL? Or do you think they will end up trying to draft a quarterback and maybe not start all over, but it would allow them to use the money that they're going to put on Purdy to address other issues that they may have going forward?
Well, I just don't think you can keep dancing around this thing with Purdy because the window of opportunity is slowly closing on you. So, I mean, if Purdy hasn't shown that he can actually get it done, how much longer are you going to keep going with Purdy? You're going to either have to make a decision on him, and I can see that them making that decision to move off of him. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen, but it would not surprise me if they decide to move off of him based on the history of the San Francisco 49ers. Heck, they moved off Joe Montana. They'll move off of Purdy just as quick as they will anybody else.
Rich, you got a comment on that?
Absolutely. Okay, we moved off of Joe Montana after years of service. And then we took on Steve Young, more years of service. We don't just switch quarterbacks every 15 minutes. Like we kept Alex Smith around.
you don't just get rid of your quarterback because of a money situation. They just re-signed Tua, and he's a head case, like literally. So you just don't switch quarterbacks like that. Like he's been there 2.5 seasons. That doesn't make any sense to let him go. It doesn't make any sense. He's been to an NFC Championship and the Super Bowl.
So Purdy's been there 2. I thought he was there. I thought he was already there 3. Or is this so? It's 2.5 right now, right? You saying 2.5? Would it be 3?
He's been a starter for 2.5.
Okay, but has he been there for 3?
He's been there for this is his 4th season.
This will be a 4th season, so he can get a contract extension at this point of the year.
He can't get his extension till the end of this year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, to the end of this year. So I'm just saying though, if I think that oh man, like Murray said about Lynch being that gunslinger, they might not address that issue money wise, especially if Deebo Samuel walks. They're gonna look at, and I know they got the Paracel, I think his name is, Paracel, is that it?
Deebo's not a free agent.
He's not?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought he was a free agent the way you were talking about them moving off of him.
He doesn't have any more guaranteed money on his contract.
Okay. So because you got the guy, is it Paracel? Is that his name? The one that got shot. Parasol. Okay. You got him, which is a great pickup. Jennings is still there, but I think Jennings might be. They might want to move on from Jennings, maybe, if anything. But I think
he just got an extension.
Oh, he did? Okay, so they should be good with him. So I'm just looking at my issue with San Fran right now is a running back issue, because I think Mason's a good backup. Can he be a starter? Yes, he can. But I don't know how much stock you want to put in McCaffrey when he comes back, if he comes back from this injury, because this injury is like it's been a while since he's been on the football field, and so you got to question the health of him as well. So I think if I'm San Fran, I don't know if I want to give Purdy that money right now. I probably would want to wait to see what I can get free agent wise going forward, as far as like the running backs and things of that nature, to help the team, because if they can,
we're not big on free agents.
Right, but my thing is though,
like we don't make splash moves.
Right, but what I'm saying
free agency, we throw through the draft.
Right, but my thing is though, if you're looking to find somebody like McCaffrey that kind of helps you, kind of like makes that engine go, do you look through the draft for that type of guy who's a rookie, or do you look for a free agent running back?
You go and see what Travis Etienne's available for.
Okay, now I can agree with that one. I like to see that. I would like to see that move. Because I think Rigsby or whatever his name is could be a starter for Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
He's probably fed up with what's going on in Jacksonville. I think Doug Peterson is probably safe right now. With his 2 wins, I think he got. Okay. Moving on, Curry with the Miami Dolphins, the situation with Tua, they're saying he could be back soon. Do you feel that there's a player out there that they can trade for right now that can help elevate defensively or offensively the Miami Dolphins, or what are you thinking here?
You saying is there a player out there that can help elevate them in what position?
I'm saying offense or defense. I think offensively you're fine. Maybe I would say you could maybe address the running back situation. Maybe you might want to bring in some.
Nah, they're good. They're stout at running back. They don't need a running back.
So let's look at is the defense ready to go? I mean, you still have the one linebacker that you guys got from the Browns, I think that's not playing right now. He's still out. So that would
Yeah,
be
the one that we Chubb is still out. He went out
linebacker
early,
for
late
yes.
last year, so he is due to come back sometime this year. I'll say probably mid to end of November, probably. But then they just Zach Sealer, he just got hurt in practice this week, so he looks like he's gonna miss a few games. So if anything, which all things considered, Dolphins right now have the number 4 ranked defense in the league. So they're not doing bad on defense, but I do think they need some help on defense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they're going to be able to sustain it without with Phillips being out for the year, and then like I say, Chubb's not back yet. And now you just lost Zach Sealer. I just don't know how much you're going to be able to get out of Calais Campbell. Who's he, about 40 years old? But the guy has been a beast since week 1. But I definitely think that they need to get some kind of strength in probably another wide receiver. And see, the problem with the Dolphins wide receivers is they're so fragile, man. Seems like Waddle gets hurt every other play.
Yeah.
And I'm stretching that when I say that every other play. But he gets hurt a lot. Tyreek is just small. They need a big receiver. They need somebody that's about 6'2", that can, get all those 50-50 balls.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they need, if anything. They need a good, solid wide receiver.
Okay. Matthew, Seattle, they made a trade, added defensive tackle Robertson Harris from the Jags. This is like the second trade you guys have done this season. I think the other person was you brought on another defensive player. Is that correct?
Yes. As of earlier this week, we did a trade with Tennessee Titans as we gave them Jerome Baker in a 4th-round pick for Ernest Jones IV in a 6th-round pick.
So what's the concept of them? What are Seattle looking at defensively? Who do you think? Why do you think they're doing this? To prepare for what team? Do you think it's the Detroit Lions? Do you think it's who we got out? Washington Commanders, Detroit Lions. Right now, because you guys are 4-3 in the division. So what moves you think they made? Why do you make these moves on the defensive side of the ball? And I know Metcalf name had been mentioned a couple times, but nothing solid on him leaving Seattle.
Yeah, you're correct with that, as Metcalf is currently dealing with a MCL sprain, which he is week to week. But that's not the main concern with Seattle right now, because our wide receivers from 1 through 6 are doing amazing. So even with Metcalf out, there's already a receiver or running back that can do the same stuff he can. And then with the defense, the reason why we made the moves that we did, it's mainly what we've had an issue with, and it's stopping the run, or like a QB run, or a quick option run, or like a triple option.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for example, we traded Jerome Baker after this past Sunday's game against Atlanta because he's not good at stopping the run. And we were able to provide more than what was expected to get Ernest Jones IV, which you might remember him because he was one of the Rams' top tacklers 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Or last season, or when he was on with the Rams. And since we have him now, we're more likely now to have a better chance at stopping the run. And with all the injuries that are not happening on our defense now, because we have our D line is back where it needs to be for the most part, and there's no online injuries that are major to us, there's a good chance that we can get this chemistry going the way we've been waiting for it to be at.
Have Seattle had their bye week yet?
Let me check. I want to say we have it.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right.
Yeah, we don't get our bye week until week 10.
Okay. Because I mean, Seattle, quietly, they just going about their business, making some moves. Not nothing humongous, as far as the moves they're making.
And
Go ahead, Matthew.
And the other thing is, weirdly enough, and Seahawks fans weren't expecting this, and that's Geno Smith right now is currently the top passer in passing yards in the NFL right now.
Okay.
And when you look at the wide receivers on the depth chart, you're probably wondering how they're able to do this. And it's with the new offense coordinator, Ryan Grubb. Like I said earlier before the season started, was that offense coordinator run a quick-paced college offense that he did in college, and right now it's currently working. It's just we gotta get that defense going at stopping the run, and then potentially we more than likely after the regular season, or unless DK comes healthy sooner, there's a slight chance or a good chance, depending on other teams, if they do want him or not.
Okay. All right. And as far as like the Rams, they won last night. I was impressed with the Rams win last night. Even though that call in the end zone should have been that face mask. I don't know how the referees missed it. Because when he tackled him, my wife was like, "Yeah, ain't that a safety?" I said, "Yeah, but they gonna call a flag. He put his face mask, and he didn't do it." And I said to her, I said, sometimes this makes me think that that NFL is fixed because everybody in the NFC wants to see Detroit and maybe San Fran, in the NFC finals, right? Nobody expected Minnesota to come out and be a barn burner like they've been right now. Nobody expected Sam Darnold to be the guy that he is right now with that team. And J.J. McCarthy was the quarterback, but he ended up getting hurt. So I'm just sitting there like, yo, I can't believe that call wasn't made. Not that Sam Darnold couldn't have took him down to score in the 2-point conversion. The chances of that was slim to none, but it could have happened. You took away opportunity for them to get it done. And those are the type of wins I don't like. I don't like those wins because there's always controversy with that. And I think going forward, next year, I think that I think me personally, the hits on the quarterback and face mask should be reviewable plays because sometimes you call a penalty on hitting the quarterback and you didn't really hit him. You know what I'm saying? You didn't drive him into the ground. You hit him with your head on the right side of the body. You didn't have your shoulder. I mean, you didn't have your helmet into the chest or anything like that. So I think those two plays should be reviewable going forward next year, especially if you see it happen again in a more crucial game that really counts for like maybe a team winning the Super Bowl or a team going to the Super Bowl or even a team getting into the playoffs. I think if that happens, then it happens again, you definitely gonna hear coaches whining about that, saying, "Yo, we need to add this into some of the reviewable plays." Which face mask is an easy call to make. You know what I'm saying? Hitting the quarterback, that's kind of questionable depending on how you tackle him or how you hit him and things of that nature. So I think those two calls will definitely be in play next year. But I was really impressed with the Rams defense last night. The second half, they really played good. It's a big thing when you add your two starting wide receivers back to the offense that you ran since week one. You had Puka and you had Kupp and Robinson and Atwell, and they all got their share of balls. Robinson got 2 touchdowns. Matthew threw for 4, So this is the offense they were really looking forward to having. Now they're going to get their right tackle back, and they're going to get the starting center back. Defensively, they have everybody back as well. Again, injuries has decimated a lot of these teams in the NFL, and some of them are getting players back now. And I guess that sometimes that happens when you don't play a lot of your starters during preseason, and they get a chance to play the first or second, third week of the season. They come up with injuries. As far as the Browns are concerned, you saw what happened to Deshaun Watson, and now Jameson Winston will be starting quarterback. And they got Chubb back, and I really don't think bringing Chubb back would have helped Jameson Winston. Deshaun Watson, he just was playing terrible football, and again, I think maybe the shoulder he probably still had issues with his shoulder, and just didn't want to tell nobody. I mean, he did take some hits, but he still got up and played. But the Deshaun Watson that we were looking for, the one that was in Texas, I think that guy's long gone. We probably will never see him again. The Browns, this will go down as one of the worst trades ever. I don't know if this is worse than the trade that Dallas Cowboys did with the Minnesota Vikings to get Herschel Walker to come to Dallas. And then those two trades are probably two of the worst trades I ever seen in my life. And the Browns trade definitely was a terrible trade. And from what I'm reading, go ahead, Matthew.
Now, what are your thoughts on the Browns this week signing Bailey Zapp to be the third string QB, just in case if he has to be second string this weekend since Dorian Thompson's thumb injury?
I'm gonna say this. I think that I would have preferred them to go get there was another quarterback they had at the beginning of the season. I can't think who it was. Because he kind of pretty much knew the system. And I rocked out with him. But it's just weird how Dorian Thompson can't stay healthy to save himself, to just show what type of product you have with him on the field. Now, going forward, if the Browns decide to tank or they decide to play the season out and maybe not win no games, I'm gonna be a little bit mad because again, I felt like they wasted a good defense again this year, and hoping that their defense can return next year. And I don't think you're gonna see that happening. I know they're looking at going after the quarterback from Colorado as their pick.
Sanders?
Say that again.
Sanders?
Yeah, that's what, in the mock draft. That's where they have him going because the other teams in front of him don't need a quarterback. But again, like Curry was saying earlier, that maybe he was talking about San Francisco moving on from Purdy. I don't know how many draft picks they got. I don't know what their cap space is. I don't know what the money is. But if you look at what's going on right now in the NFL, if you look at the quarterbacks, look at Buffalo. He's a pocket passer. He runs if he have to. Miami has Tua, who doesn't want to run but can run. Okay, Baltimore has a running quarterback. Pittsburgh has they're 5-2. They have a running quarterback. If he needs to run, he can run. Cincinnati has a pocket passer. Houston has a guy that can run if he has to run. Colts have a running quarterback. Kansas City has a pocket passer. Denver has a pocket passer. Chargers have a pocket passer. Raiders have a pocket passer. Washington has one that can run. Eagles have one that can run. Dak's pocket. Detroit pocket. Minnesota pocket. Green Bay can run if he has to. Chicago he can run and have to. Atlanta pocket. Tampa pocket. Saints pocket. Seattle pocket. Arizona has a guy that can run if they need to. Rams pocket. 49ers pocket. So, and if you think about it, you never really had a quarterback that won a Super Bowl that was a running quarterback. You can say Steve Young was one. You can say McNair was one, but both of them had good running backs, so they didn't run unless they really had to. But if you look at what's going on in for right now, you have more running quarterbacks that can option run than you have pocket passing quarterbacks. So eventually you're going to see quarterbacks that you're going to see running quarterbacks get to the Super Bowl and maybe win one, or maybe win one or a few, because they're all coming in, and it to me, and maybe to you two guys as well. When you have a running quarterback, now you got a plan for him to run, right? You got to put spot on him. So that takes somebody away from a tight end or a wide receiver or even a running back. So somebody can't get double teamed. So that adds more pressure to the defense than it does anything else, because now they got to prepare for that guy. You look at Washington, Jake Daniels, you got to prepare for him to run. You know, and so that takes away you double teaming somebody else. So that within itself, and Kerry's probably a little bit more mature than me, but back in the day they had quarterbacks that did run, and they stopped them from running. They like, look, we gotta keep you healthy. We can't allow you get run. We can't allow you to run because you're gonna get hit. If you get hit, you get hurt. Now we're out of a quarterback. So that's where they went to more conservative guys and the quarterbacks in the pocket. Now history is repeating itself now. You're bringing in quarterbacks that can run, but they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster. You know what I'm saying? And the possibility of them getting hurt, as long as they learn how to slide, they should be fine. So we're gonna see we're gonna see what's the word I'm thinking for? And we're gonna see an induction of a lot of quarterbacks that can option run and pass at the same time. As long as they're accurate, like Daniels is, who to me I think is a leading rookie right now. For rookie of the year, he's a leading candidate for it, because you got Washington 5-2, and we kind of thought Washington was gonna be good, but we know they're gonna be this good. 5-2 good. And even in the two losses, they really looked impressed. The Baltimore game, I was really impressed with them, even though they lost the game. But I was impressed how well he played. But getting back to Cleveland, though, I think that they're deep now. They got all the defensive players that they had hurt or back, right back in time to play Baltimore, and we know that's always a slugfest between between Baltimore and Cleveland. And so that should be a decent game this weekend. Baltimore should win because of the quarterback play. I think that the quarterback play is way better on Baltimore side than it is the Brown side now. Henry doesn't do good against the Browns before, but now he's playing with Baltimore, so that's a different aspect. He never played with a quarterback that ran the ball either. So I'm really impressed with Baltimore as well. You guys got anything else before we move on to the next topic? Topic. Okay.
Yeah, when you think about it, you mentioned the quarterback, the dual threat quarterbacks, and all. I think where a lot of these offensive coordinators and head coaches are where they make mistakes with these guys, especially these dual threat quarterbacks coming out of college. They try to transform these guys to be to their system instead of letting the guys do what they do best. And that's what Baltimore, I think, did. When they got Jackson, they didn't try to make him fit their system. They tailored their system around him. Say, okay, let's let him do what he do best. And it's been working well for Baltimore. And I think so often, again, like I said, I think too many times they try to change the guy from what he was in college and try to make him something, and he struggles. And then, well, he's the biggest bust of all. No, he's not the biggest bust. Maybe it's just the wrong system.
And you know what? That you got a good point there, because look at Malik. What's the dude's name? They played with Tennessee. They traded him to Green Bay. Malik Willis gets traded to Green Bay, ends up starting, and he goes off because he can run the football. You know what I'm saying? He I'm gonna tell you right now, he has saved their season for real, because without him, they probably lose those games. But the system that he was in, and that kind of gets me, because when he went to Tennessee in the first preseason game, coach says, "I don't need you running the football." And I'm like, wait a minute, how are you gonna tell him not to run the football when That's what he did in college. That's what got him to y'all because he runs the football. Now, excuse me. Now you don't want him to run in the preseason. If I'm him, I'm confused because I'm like, well, this is what I did when I was in college, and you're telling me you don't want me to do it now? I'm confused. But he went to Green Bay and saved that season for them. He definitely saved that season for him, man. You can't take that away from him. So right now, for me in the NFC, I have Detroit Lions at 1. I got Washington as 2. I have the Packers as 3 because Minnesota lost. I have Seattle at 5. That would be my top 5 right there. Atlanta Falcons. I don't believe in them. Buccaneers. They're gonna have some problems because they're out of all the wide receivers are hurt right now, so they're gonna struggle. So those are my top 5 in AFC. I mean NFC. In AFC, I have. I'm even though they lost to Kansas City, I see Baltimore has gotten better and better and better and better as the season goes on. But now you added you added DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City, makes that a dangerous, dangerous team. But until I can see him play, I'm going with Baltimore. Then I'm going with Kansas City. Then I'll take Pittsburgh, Buffalo, and Houston. I wasn't too impressed with Houston's. Now they're playing without the wide receiver. So he's trying to find a way to make things work, and I'm not really impressed with how well they play. So those are my top 5 in AFC and NFC. Curry, who you got? Who's your top 5 in the NFC right now?
Right now, I got to go with Detroit. And even though Minnesota's lost tougher games, I'm gonna put them at number 2, and then I could roll with Green Bay, and that's tough. It's still they're not that impressive to me over NFC. Because I really want to put the 49ers in there, but they're not healthy right now, so I'm scared of them. I don't know. I guess go with the record. I guess we put in the Commanders, even though I know their quarterback's hurt. And let's not get it twisted. Marcus Mariota is definitely not the same quarterback they had in there before.
You ain't getting about that one. Who you got in the AFC?
I'm like you. I got to go Baltimore. Then I would go Kansas City. Then, as bad as I hate to say it, I'm gonna have to go with Buffalo, and then Houston and Pittsburgh.
Okay, Curry. Matthew, what you got?
So my top 5 in the NFC. At number 1, I got the Washington Commanders.
You think they're better than? You think they're better? You think they're better than Detroit?
I can make an argument on that.
Okay.
Like I can say Detroit can be number 1 or Washington can be number 1.
Okay, 1A, 1B.
But I feel like Washington to me looks more impressive than Detroit on paper because this the way that coaching staff is getting these players energized the way that they are on the field.
Okay.
Number 2, I do got Detroit. 3, Green Bay. 4, Chicago. 5, we're going to go with Tampa.
Okay. Now I know Chicago.
Tampa, just because I feel like there's potential in there later in the season, despite the receiver loss. But you can't tell me that they are 4-3 right now.
Okay. So Chicago, who is 4-2, that whole division is all they all got winning records, and that's been I want to know how long it's been since that division had all winning record through the division. But I think the Bears are going to hit the meat of their conference games, so we're gonna see how exactly good they are. Kerry, I got a question for you. How impressed were you? How impressed are you with the Pittsburgh Steelers? With they sitting Justin Fields down to bring in Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson comes through and wins a game for them. I know you wasn't too high on neither one of those quarterbacks, so that's why I want to ask you this question.
I was more impressed with the Steelers' defense more so than I was with Russell Wilson. And the reason I say the defense, because the defense really shut the Jets down. They had two plays in that game that comes to my mind. One was when they were at the 16-yard line. They had the Jets pinned back at the 16, and it was first down. They lost 2 yards on the play, and then that player ended up getting a personal foul for slamming the guy down. So that moved him out to, beyond the 30-yard line.
Right.
And that got them some room. Had they not made that boneheaded play, they probably don't even get a touchdown there. And then there was another play where the running back took off, and he picked up 56 yards on one play. And there was like 4 guys that missed him on tackles. So that 56-yarder should have been like an 8-yard run. Even though the defense made those 2 plays, I was more impressed with the defense than I was the offense. Those receivers made Russell Wilson look, that wasn't it George Pickens?
George Pickens, yeah.
He made Russell Wilson look a lot better than what he was, because he made some. And the tight end, they made some spectacular catches that could have easily have been incomplete passes, but they made him look a lot better than what he was.
Okay. Now they got the Giants on Monday night. That should be a win for them. They go just with their next up. They go to Washington. They got Baltimore. They got Cleveland. They got Cincinnati. They got Cleveland again. So they run 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. They got 4 divisional games within the month of November into first week in December. So that's going to tell the tale how actually good they are. So they got Baltimore at home, then they go on the road against Cleveland, and go on the road against Cincinnati, and then they got Cleveland again, then they come back, and then they have the Eagles at the Eagles, they had Baltimore, then they have Kansas City, and then they got Cincinnati. So the schedule ain't that shabby. If you look at it, you got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 teams out of the 4 teams. Let me see. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Look like 9 games left, which is week 7. Right? Week 8. So you have 9 games left, and right now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have 5 teams that have winning records that could make the playoffs, which would be Commanders, Baltimore twice, the Eagles, and the Chiefs. The Chiefs game is next to the last game against the Bengals, so we'll see how really good they really are. So I thought that Russell Wilson was gonna fall flat on his face. I thought that was a bad mistake of taking Justin Fields out of there. Pittsburgh got something up their sleeve anyway, because I don't think they're gonna keep both of them at the end of the year. So I think Justin Fields kind of like came out and showcased what he could do with a team like Baltimore. I mean, with Pittsburgh, with the type of offense they run, which is run first offense. So I think he might have been advertising for his next gig or wherever he might end up going. I'm gonna say this though. I think Justin Fields. I think the Bears probably gave up on Justin Fields too soon. Um, because at the end of the year they were playing better football, but I think both teams were happy for the trade because Pittsburgh is 5-2, Chicago's 4-2, and they have a quarterback that could be, depending on Daniels when he comes back, could be considered rookie of the year as a quarterback for Chicago Bears. The only thing they got to do is just build on what they have. He's saving Eberflus' job up in Chicago. I feel like, but I mean,
Hey, Kevin.
yes, sir.
Let's not forget that when Russell Wilson first started that game off, he wasn't looking very good.
No, he wasn't.
In fact, if you remember, the fans were starting to boo a little bit there because they weren't happy with the way the game was going. I think he started off like hit 2 of his first 8 passes and didn't have very many yards until it started clicking for him. Like I said, that receiver helped him out, but let's not be fooled and think that Russell Wilson is going to do all this and that, because I still think Russell Wilson and Justin Fields both are fool's gold.
To me, I believe more in Justin Fields because he adds that he can run the football as well. With Russell, we know Russell's not going to do that unless he has to. And that's the only thing that to me I think Fields have over Russell. Other than that, Russell he should have the educational part of the game down pat because he's been to 2 Super Bowls, he's been in playoff positions, he's been to teams where they wasn't good and then they became good, so he brings a lot to the table. Again, I'm not. Being that I seen Russell play in the NFC West, I seen good Russell, I seen the bad Russell, and long as Najee Harris can run the ball, I think they should be fine with him. If they lose him, then if they got to rely on Russell to win the game, I don't think that's going to happen with them. So, but we'll see how this thing pans out on the back end of this right here. Anybody else on football we want to speak about? So I want to talk about those trades, right? So Mari Cooper goes to Buffalo, which is a needed wide receiver there because he didn't have a number 1 wide receiver. Then Devontae Adams goes to the Jets, and we all talked about this right here. And I had said I don't see why Devontae Adams goes to the Jets because they're not going to win a Super Bowl with him there. They're not the best team in the AFC at all. Could they be a wild card? It's a possibility, but if you look at if the playoffs were to start right now, you got Buffalo in, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Houston, the Colts, Kansas City, and the Broncos. Jets is nowhere in sight of that happening. And also, Devontae Adams come there and said we got to change the culture of this team. I don't know if that should be a good fit for the Jets. It really should be, right? But I think that DeAndre Hopkins to Kansas City is a head and shoulders above all of them. But you notice that only the AFC teams went after wide receivers, which is crazy. But again, we talked about Devontae Adams going to Green Bay or going to other teams where Mo really wanted him to go to Pittsburgh and not give up nothing. And we told Mo that wasn't going to happen. You got to give up something to get something. And so you look at the Jets schedule right now. They got the Patriots, that should be a win. They got Texans, they're probably not gonna win that game. That's well, they might win because they're at home. The weather might be a factor. They got they go to Cardinals, they got the Colts, they have Seattle, they have Miami, they have Jacksonville, they play the Rams, they play the Bills and the Dolphins. So this schedule they got right now, if you look at the schedule, they have 1, 2, three, four. They have 4 teams possibly that could make the playoffs. So I like the move that they appease Aaron Rodgers to bring him there, but I don't think that's still the right move for them. And so I think that is kind of weird. And so with the trades happening and Detroit still standing pat on what they want, or what they need is, I'm kind of surprised they haven't made a trade yet. I don't know what they're looking for or waiting for. Because November 5th will be here before you know it, and if you ain't got nothing in the works, you're gonna be in trouble. I know there's possibilities of Zadarius Smith going there from the Browns, but I think the Browns' asking price for anybody on that defensive side is going to be a little bit too high for what um Detroit would want. If I was Detroit, I'm just adding a small piece to that team. This is a small piece on defense to help out, because Hutchinson was a dude. He was a good dude for them. And sorry, it's sad that he got hurt, but they're still winning. But at some point in time, you're gonna need to be able to get to the quarterback. So I don't know who they gonna bring in there to solidify that. Solidify that defense. But hopefully they bring somebody in to help out. I think they got one heck of a coach too. He's a guy that I think the players will run through a wall for, because he's just that type of coach. Anything else football wise, guys?
Hey, so you when you mention the Jets, that's about the most dysfunctional group out there right now. And I say this with all fear, because you first of all, you let Aaron Rodgers bring in all players he wants to bring in. So you basically saying, hey, you take over the general manager role here. And then, all right, then as much as anybody don't want to believe it, he got the coach fired. And if he didn't get the coach fired, he could have stopped him from getting fired.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't do that. So you basically, again, gave him the general manager role. And then here you got Devontae Adams come in. Hasn't even been there a week. And he's already pointing fingers at people saying, you guys don't even play with passion. You guys ain't doing this. We need to do this. I mean, you're a newcomer, man. Just come on. You start making plays first, and then you can talk. You ain't done nothing yet, but you're going to come here and tell everybody what they're doing wrong.
Exactly.
And see, nobody stopped this guy. And see, like I said, nobody wants to hurt Aaron Rodgers' feelings. And I was so glad to hear Rex Ryan call Aaron Rodgers out this week when he said the blame should be on Aaron Rodgers, because he's the biggest problem on that team right there.
Yeah, there's rumors that they might offer Rex Ryan a job at the end of the season. And if they do that,
I don't think Rex gonna get no job at the Jets.
And if that was the case, Aaron's probably gonna vacate the premises. Let's talk about Mayo, the head coach for the New England Patriots, said that his team was solved, and everybody's making a big deal about this, and they're saying he should say more positive things about the team and things of that nature. And I'm saying to myself, if they solved, they solved. It's simple as that. They went over across the pond, played Jacksonville, and got punched in the mouth, right? Mayo, is it Mayo? Yeah. Gerard Mayo. Yeah, Gerard Mayo is the coach. Quarterback play, rookie guy came in and he played really well. They know that they have a quarterback of the future for them now. They don't have to worry about that. The only thing I worry about is getting pieces around him, and proving that he can get a winning program back in New England. But I don't have a problem with the coach saying that my team's soft, because if that's the case, So now me as a player, I'm gonna try to prove my coach wrong, that I'm not soft, that I can play at the level that needs to be played. So I think that sometimes you have to motivate your players any way you can motivate them, and sometimes you gotta say things to them that they don't want to hear or they don't like. But the thing about it is that's part of life, And I'm just really upset with people. And even Belichick said something about he would have called him soft. He would have called him something else. Man, know Belichick got in that locker room and cussed guys out to their face. He probably spit in their face and everything else while cuss them out because he could do it. You know what I'm saying? But this guy, he's a first year head coach, right? Trying to establish something that needed to be established, and he felt like his team was soft. I see nothing wrong with him calling his team out and saying they were soft. Do you guys find that to be as a problem in either one of you guys?
Like, first off, congrats to him for coming out and saying that his team's soft, because for a head coach nowadays to say that that their team is soft, like their own team is soft, that's very hard to do. Like, to tell the reporters, hey, our team is currently soft. Now, in order to fix it, not be soft, not only you have to put words to your own players to try and get them motivated or very angry to be motivated, but you gotta figure out on your own end what plays aren't working, what is the O line not doing their job, are the wide receivers not getting their routes on time, is the D line doing what they're doing, is the linebackers, and so forth. Because by the end of the day, you can say your team's soft, but at the same time, you could have the worst team in the NFL right now, and next year you could have that same roster and be number top 5 or even the best team in the league.
Okay. I totally agree with you on that. I just think that when you say your team's soft, there's nothing wrong with that. And I hate when people we're in a time in a world where you gotta watch everything you say to everybody. Everybody's feelings get hurt so fast, so quick. You know, being in a school system, I see it every day where you say something to somebody and they take it the wrong way and they get upset about it. And I'm talking about staff. I'm talking about staff down to the kids. But my thing is this right here is that if he felt like his team was soft, they're soft. And if that can motivate them to play better this week coming up, then so be it. If they go out and if New England goes out and wins this weekend, I bet they won't be called soft no more. I bet you they were like, yo, maybe he should have called them soft again. And see, they play the Jets, so it's a rival game. So maybe he said it to motivate them to be better than what they were before. But again, I'm like, I don't care if he's a first year head coach, second year, or whatever the case may be. He's around them guys every day, all day. You know, anywhere from 8 to 10, 12 days, 12 hours a day. So he knows what he sees. He sees them play. He's in their ear. He's around them more than the family is. You know what I'm saying? So if he has an opinion of the team being soft, then they're soft. That's just the way I look at it.
See, I disagree with that.
Go ahead.
Well, if you're the head coach, I mean, you got to put some onus on yourself there.
I agree.
First thing you get up there and you say, I got to coach better.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can say, we got to play better. We got to get tougher. We need to get tougher in certain areas. It's not what you say so much, it's how you say it. I mean, he could have said the same exact thing and just reworded it. But that's a good way to lose your locker room, because you basically threw your whole team under the bus. But you didn't take no onus on yourself and say, I got to do this. And it always reminds me, I throw it back to Aaron Rodgers. When have you got Aaron Rodgers get to the podium and say, I need to play better? No, it's somebody else's fault. If you're a head coach, you are in it. You're the leader. If you don't think they're tough enough, coach them up. That's your job. Coach them up.
And you got a great point, because that was one of the topics that they talked about on ESPN about him saying he was soft and he needs to take ownership as well to say, okay, it's my fault. Maybe it's my fault that they're soft. Now I got to coach them back up to be even tougher than. And my thing is maybe he feel like he has coached them. It's tough. He can coach them, and they still soft, you know. So maybe that's where that acronym came from, to say that, because maybe he's saying I'm doing everything I can do to get these guys prepared for a game. The game against Jacksonville, we should have never lost that game because we were winning and we allowed them to come back and win. And I think that's why we're soft, you know. So I I totally agree with you on that, Curry. I totally agree with you on that. I do. Moving on to WNBA, the Liberty and the Lynx. We want to congratulate the New York Liberty, Liberty, for winning the WNBA championship game. The game 5 was exciting game until the last, I want to say the last minute and a half, or last 50 seconds. Um, New York had got the ball out of bounds. Well, yeah, New York had the ball out of bounds, got it in. The female got the ball. She traveled first, then the defender put her hand straight up, and they called a foul. At that time, the Lynx were up by 2 points, and as we all know, the Liberty came back and came back to win the game. The coach for the Lynx was very upset about that. She's like, no call. That should have been no call. And to be perfectly honest with you, it should not have been a no call. It should have been a travel on New York. But I think they wanted New York. New York wanted to be the feel good story because the Lynx has already won a title. And that's the only thing that kind of tainted that game. But I tell you what, though, the pressure of Game 5 for females, both teams look tired. And you guys think about this. That season was really long because you got to remember they stopped playing because of the Olympics and they had to come back and play. But again, it was a great series with them. Next year, the finals is going to be a 7-game series, so they better get ready for the grind. But all in all, I gotta give the WNBA a B+ on this season with Caitlin Clark, Angela Reese, and the rest of that rookie class coming through and playing really good basketball and setting them up for something great going forward. The only problem I have with the WNBA right now is that they're upset about how reporters are asking them questions about the game. And the thing about it, you can't have it both ways. You can't say we want to be a top dog on the porch when you get the top dog questions and you can't answer them. You know, you feel like the reporters were picking on you. He's just doing his job. You know, he's just doing the job to ask questions, difficult questions for difficult questions means difficult answers, and just give him an answer. But don't sit there and say I don't. You know, I think he might be a chauvinist or he don't like women or anything like that because they don't. I'm pretty sure they don't consider themselves like that. They consider you as an athlete, and they're going to ask you hard questions. WNBA, NBA, MLB, they always ask them the difficult questions. And the thing about it is that you have to be able to answer them. There's always the correct way, the right way, or it's your way. You want to say what you want to say. You know what I'm saying? But you still get your point across without being upset about it, even with the reporters. I just think that bothered me a little bit about when they was getting on the reporters for the way they were asking questions. I'm like, you can't have it both ways. You have to be able to accept it for what it is and move on. So thank you for a great season WNBA. We look forward to seeing you again in July, I believe it is. College football. We have Oregon Ducks are number 1, Georgia's number 2, Penn State's number 3, Ohio State's number 4, Texas is number 5, Miami's number 6, Tennessee's number 7, LSU's 8, Clemson's 9, and number 10 is Iowa State. I'm gonna say this: Texas got slapped around. They got slapped. They if you watch the game, was it 31 to 14 or 31 to 15, something of that nature? Georgia punched them in the mouth a whole lot of times. A whole lot of times they punched them in the mouth. And I'm gonna say this: for them to lose 30-15, the game wasn't even that close. Because at the end of the game, you didn't have a lot of starters in the game because it was pretty much over. It was 23. It was 23-15 going into the fourth quarter, right? Yeah, and the Bulldogs were basically, the quarterback was still in the play, but they had played some underclassmen. But the score doesn't reflect how bad the game was. They dominated that game to no end, and I'm gonna give you some stats, right? So, and the only thing that kind of kept them in the game is the turnovers for Georgia, because the quarterback went 23 for 41 for 174, not great. He had 3 turnovers. Texas quarterback was 25 for 43 for 211 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Rushing was Etienne, 19 carries for 87 yards, 3 touchdowns. Weiser had 15 carries, 52 yards. Wide receivers, you had Old Delp, 2 receivers for 45 yards. M. Golden, 3 receptions for 77 yards. So nobody really stood out as a spectacular player in this game. But if you watch the game, you could see the dominance of Georgia. Maybe Georgia just was playing along with them to the end of the game and scored, in that fourth quarter. But to me, I don't know if you guys watched the game. I wasn't really impressed with Texas at all. I just think Texas they ran into a buzzsaw, and Georgia's playing really mad right now because they lost Alabama, which that's their fault. They had the lead and gave it up. Um, so this weekend you got Georgia at Florida, you got Penn State at Wisconsin, you got Texas at Vandy, Miami and Florida State should be a good game. LSU at Texas A&M should be a good game, and then you have Navy plays Notre Dame. That should be a good game. I think that, and Notre Dame can't afford to lose this game.
That game's going to be probably, you can make an argument, game of the weekend if it goes the right way, even if Notre Dame wins it by close, because the QBR rating on Navy's quarterback, Blake Horvath, right now is ranked 3rd in the whole country at a 90.7 QBR. And right behind them at number 4 is Army's QB, Bryson Bailey, at an 89.4.
Wow. And the thing about it is, guys, somebody gonna say, well, Navy don't play nobody. I'm like, okay, but who is Navy? Do Navy recruit football players to play for Navy? They recruit people to go on the ships. They recruit guys to go on ships and fly airplanes and do all kinds of stuff. And if you got some talent, you go play football. But they play Bucknell, Temple, Memphis, UAB, Air Force, Charlotte. Now they got Notre Dame. Notre Dame is probably the only team on their schedule that's ranked right now, other than Army, right? But they don't have the best of the best on that team. So that's an accomplishment within itself. And the same thing with the Navy. Curry, was you about to say something?
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay. Matthew, was you about to say something?
No, I wasn't. But it will be interesting to see what happens after both teams play against Notre Dame, because theoretically, both teams could win or lose to Notre Dame, play against each other in the conference championship game. Then the week after the conference championship game, they can play their exhibition game that doesn't affect the playoff commitment for that 12th seed, but depending on how Boise State does, could affect Army or Navy, because that 12th seed is that non-Power 5.
Right. So,
or Power 4.
So this weekend, after this weekend, the playoff picture comes out, correct? Because this is week 8. So the playoff, the picture for the playoffs should come out about who should play where and what. And one good thing about the playoffs is, you get teams to get a chance to play at home, and that's going to be amazing to have a playoff game at home, and the team you playing, they may have a couple hundred fans.
It could be their first time playing at that stadium too.
Exactly.
So the percentage on the playoffs, you got Georgia at 87, Oregon at 87, Miami at 86, Ohio State at 79, Texas at 78, Penn State at 73. You got Tennessee, Indiana in the mid 60s. Then you got this wild card where you got Notre Dame, Iowa State, Boise State, Alabama, BYU, Clemson, and LSU between the 40 to 55% range. And then your underdogs right now who have a chance, depending on how other teams do within their conference. You got Army, Ole Miss, UNLV, Missouri, Washington State, and Pittsburgh, who have that 12% to 25% chance of going to the playoffs.
Yeah, so it's going to be, college football is going to get really interesting. I'm glad that they added more playoff teams, because that makes it just a little bit more better. I don't know if you want to add more.
And our boy Giannetti, he plays tonight at 10:30 against UNLV, and more than likely Boise State beats UNLV. He'll likely pull out UNLV out of that percentage talk.
Okay, yeah. I don't know what you guys thinking about. Okay, they got 12 teams. Do you think they should go to 16 teams, or do you think 12 is right where it needs to be?
I feel like 12 is good, but I feel like with the way revenue's going, TV contracts and NIL, I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the decade if we go to 16 or if they go to 25 like they do in the FCS.
So let's say if they go,
if they for the TV revenue.
So if they were to go 25, they all 25 teams. Well, you're looking at 25 teams, and then you add in, let's say you add in another 15, which would take you to 40 teams, because everybody in top 25 is going to make the playoff. I mean, they're going to get a bowl game, so they got to play against somebody. You know what I'm saying? So it might be like like Vanderbilt's 5-2, right? If the season would end, they're not making the playoffs, so they have to play somebody. Who said they have to play a team? They wouldn't play anybody in the top 12. It'd be 13 through 25, right? So do that make the bowl games better? It possibly could, but again, you're gonna probably have some teams that's not gonna be ranked that get an opportunity to go to the bowl games. So that's gonna make that really interesting going forward. I'm liking this thing right now. Penn State, if they can beat Wisconsin, they got me for another week. That USC game, I was ready to give up. I was like, I'm done. I had put all my Penn State stuff in the plastic bag. I was like, yeah, I'm pretty much done with this. I can't do this no more. I said, because he's about to lose a game that and they said the percentage at halftime, no, the percentage in the middle second quarter was 92% that they would lose, and they end up winning the game at the end. So that shows some character on Penn State's side, even though it went in overtime. But again, I want to see them do against Wisconsin. Great.
Now, here's the weird thing in the Big Ten, though. Oregon's number one in the country, but Indiana's number one in the Big Ten at 7-0, based off of the point how they're whooping teams like it's water.
And Indiana always has they always had quarterbacks that They're running quarterbacks. Antoine Randall was there. He ended up being a wide receiver for Pittsburgh. Your boy that went to the Falcons, he was there for a little bit, and he is a quarterback in the NFL right now, but he's not playing. So they always have a handful of quarterbacks that run the football, which makes it harder to defend, way harder to defend. Okay, so we talked about WNBA, they're done. Talked about college football, they're done. NBA. Let's talk about the NBA right now. And I'm gonna get on my horse for a little bit right here. I'm gonna get on my soapbox. I don't know if you guys remember me telling you that I didn't agree with the Sixers getting Chris Paul. I mean Chris Paul, Paul George for the amount of money they paid him. I had said I would rather have gotten 3 players for one. So if one of them get hurt, at least you got 2 players that can maybe provide for what you need, which would be defense and being the score that make up for one player. So now the problem I have with the Sixers right now is that Joel Embiid is hurt. He won't be playing back to backs. Paul George is hurt, and we don't know when he's going to be back. He has a bruised knee, and this is why I said I don't believe that they should have got Paul George. This is why I said I think that they should have gotten 3 players instead of one to suffice that difference. And now they played Milwaukee the other night and get blown out. I I'm just trying to I'm just trying to understand this. LeBron can't be the only one that knows how to treat his body in the off season and during the season, to maintain the capability of not being majorly hurt and being able to play basketball at a high level. Embiid is one of the players that I love watching him play because he didn't learn how to play basketball until a younger age. But the problem I'm having with Embiid is that his diet is terrible. I think that him and Zion should have personal chefs. And the thing with Embiid is that he's so big that his knees are going to be bad for him. So if Embiid doesn't win a title within the next couple of years, he probably won't see a title because his body's going to body's going to run down. But again, if I'm a Sixers fan, I gotta be mad though. I have to be mad because you gave Paul George all this money, and now he's not playing right now. And we know he's coming back, but does that make this? To me, getting Paul George did not make them better than Milwaukee. Didn't make them better than Boston. Didn't make them better than New York Knicks. It didn't make them better than a bunch of teams out there. But you want us to believe that they could go against Boston for the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. I beg to differ, and not that because I'm a Sixers, not that I'm a Celtic fan, but I don't see that. Boston, Boston, Cleveland, Milwaukee, the Knicks. That's 4 teams right there that I picked, plus Boston. So we go Boston, Cleveland, Milwaukee, the Pacers, the Knicks. Who else I had? The Knicks. So that's 6 teams I think I called out. That 16 that puts them in a 7 seed, right? So that means they would end up playing the number 2 seed, what could possibly, to me, I think it's going to be Cleveland or New York, the New York Knicks. I think once they get their stuff together, New York going to be good. But Philly just didn't do enough in return to warrant them saying that they're going to be this good team. Not that I don't like Philly. I don't like Philly, but I respect them. But you look at all the draft. Boston have Drew Holiday, who was drafted by the 76ers, who won Rookie of the Year, who they traded away to New Orleans Pelicans, who traded him to the Milwaukee Bucks, who won a title with him, who traded him to Portland for Damian Lillard, who traded him back to Boston, and now he's balling out. And you telling me you couldn't see this guy, how good this guy's gonna be? He won Rookie of the Year. Noel, I can't think of Noel's other name, the tall guy with the Sixers. He won Rookie of the Year. They went through so many players to get to where they're at now. Noel, yep. They went through so many players to get to where they're at now, and they still haven't gotten out of the second round of the playoffs. And you bring in Paul George, who's older than the whole team. I can see if his age intertwined with what they're doing. But you can't sit and tell me that you're ready to win right now when now you got one player who's not gonna play back-to-backs. You got one player who's out right now. And even though the East is not as tough as the West, Philadelphia can't afford to go 0-5. Because to pick up 5 games in the East is going to be very difficult. You look at Boston, you look at Cleveland, you look at Milwaukee, you look at the Pacers, you look at Miami, you look at the Knicks, you look at those teams and you say, man, how are they going to do it? And that's the problem I have with the 76ers. It just don't make sense to me. They don't, it just didn't make sense to me to bring them in there. Just get 3 guys. Get 3 guys that can get you. If you get 3 guys, you can get 23 points out of 23 to 25. That's Paul George. If you get them to get 10 rebounds, 7 on defense and 3 on the offense, that's Paul George. If you get them to give you 9 assists together, that's Paul George numbers. Those are the same numbers. But if you lose one of them, that's fine because you still got 2 that can make up for the difference. You just tell them your role has to be different than what it was when you had all 3 players. But when you lose Paul George altogether, you lose. Not only do you lose the value of Paul George, but how do you replace? Who on their team can come off the bench? Who can start and average 25 points a game? They got rid of Tobias Harris. So who is it that on their team that they can find that can fill that void when he's not playing? I don't see it. I just don't see the roster. I don't see it on the roster. And I'm looking at the roster right now, right? And I just don't see them. I don't need half these guys. I don't even know half these guys on the team. You know what I'm saying? Eric Gordon, come on, Reggie Jackson. These guys are the guards are 6'3", 6'2", 6 foot. Now the K Martin pickup, I like that. I'm being honest with you. I don't need Kyle Lowry on my team right now. I don't need him. I need to find somebody else. You know, Kelly Oubre, if he can do what he did last year, he'd be fine. But again, I'm just not understanding I'm not understanding why they're doing what they're doing with the 76ers. It just doesn't make any sense with me. None whatsoever. And then on top of that, I was hoping Rich would stay on because I really want to talk to him about the Chicago Bulls because they got Melo back, right? And so now they got that point guard back. Let's see how this thing works out for them. They still got Levine there. I don't know.
I'm out here.
Oh, you back? Okay. So
I'm back. I was in the chair.
Okay. So I'm just looking. I'm talking about Lonzo Ball, being on the team again, and I don't know. Did you get a chance to watch the game the other night? How well did he do? Did you see anything?
I didn't really. I wasn't impressed. I mean, this is his first game back, and I mean, it's not his first game back. But against starters, like, I think he did pretty well. I'm more disappointed in how he's running this rotation, but I get it. Like, he's just trying to find a comfortable rotation, so he's like playing dudes, 5 minutes at a time, and then they go sit down, and then they come back. It was a mess.
So now my question though is, shouldn't you have figured out during the preseason what your rotation should look like at some point in time? I would think.
There's so many young players on this team. Like, I just don't really think that he knows what he really has. Like, Kobe is a mainstay. He has to play Zach LaVine because he got to figure out where he's going to send him. Vooch is, he's the guy.
Right.
But then you got Josh Giddey, young, not really knowing what he's capable of doing. Well, we know he can't shoot.
So speaking of Josh,
then you got.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. You can go ahead.
Then you still have like the Sumu, who held on to Patrick Williams for some reason. I don't know what the whole. This was a blow up. Like, it was just blow the team up, and then we'll see what we got. What shakes out for defense we're getting rid of.
Okay. So my question to you is right here. Josh Giddey, they traded for Josh Giddey, but they have not did any contract negotiation with him at all. And they said it's like way off. It's nowhere close to what they want. So basically, Josh Giddey is a point guard playing free, being a free agent this year. If it's that bad, if they're that far off, then if I'm them, I'm moving him by All-Star break, because if I can't sign him, there's no need to keep him around. But my thing is, when you trade for a player, you say, "Yo, I traded for you because I believe in you. You can help our team out. You're a piece of the puzzle that we want." Go ahead.
I don't think that's the way that happened at all. Like, I think that it was more about, okay, he wanted Caruso than us wanting Josh Giddey. It's just that that's who they offered. And because he can't shoot, he's the liability on defense. I mean, he's 6'7", 6'8", and you can't teach that from the point guard position. So he reminds me of Michael Carter Williams.
Okay.
He's that guy. He's not really good, but he's not bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I just think that they just wanted to blow the team up.
Okay. And if that's what they want to do, then I'm all for it for what they want. I mean, because what they have is not working. And the thing about it is they're trying to find a suitor for Zach LaVine. That's probably the biggest piece right there. But the thing about it is, if Zach LaVine is as good as they say he is, then it wouldn't be hard for them to get rid of him. Real quick, in the NBA, Brooklyn 55, Orlando 57, Philly 57, Toronto 66, Charlotte 58, Atlanta 62, Detroit 55, Cleveland 65, New York Knicks 61, Pacers 45 at halftime. Wow. Memphis 43, Houston 40, Milwaukee 32, Chicago 30. And we're going to talk about the Knicks in a few seconds. But that's my whole thing, is that everybody know they want to get rid of Zach LaVine, so it's gonna have to come at a discounted price, because nobody's gonna give him a lot to get him, because he's been prone to be hurt, and so people are not gonna really take a chance on him unless he goes to a formidable team. Like, I know that there was talked about him going to the Lakers, but what do the Lakers have to give Chicago back? They ain't got no draft picks. You know what I'm saying?
Don't give us Bronny.
Speaking of Bronny,
Go ahead.
He is going to be going to the G League team after their road trip that they are doing.
Oh, so
That was reported right about 2 hours before we got on.
yeah, I saw that.
And I feel like that's a good thing because I feel like what the Lakers are going to do, but just wait and see approach, I feel like they're going to bring back Dwight Howard after Dwight came out and said that about the ownership had a meeting with him and they wanted him at the same time. Something within a relationship talkage within what would his role would be. And at that time, the ownership didn't really agree on it, and now it's more of a we think we want you, but at the same time, it's just wait and see on what the players and the coaches think.
okay, okay. Um, I'm gonna say this though. I'm glad that LeBron has been around long enough to play with his son. I don't have a problem with him playing with his son. I have a problem with how it all revolved. And I'm gonna say that Ken Gifford Jr. and Senior, his son didn't get to the league because the dad wanted to play with him. He got to the league because he was a good baseball player. And we know how hard it is to get to the major leagues in baseball because at the time you had single A, you had double A, you had triple A, you had 4A, you had 5A, you had 1A, B, C, whatever. But it was hard to get there, right? And he finally got a chance to play with his father, which was great, right? But didn't nobody pressure the teams to play to go get the dad or to go get their brother. But LeBron, and nobody can tell me no different. He pressured the Lakers like I'm a free agent right now. Get my son, or I won't sign the deal. So to get his son, he signs a deal. I want you to pay him $6 million, guaranteed money. Just cut $6 million off my paycheck. Only thing LeBron had to do is write his son a check and be done with it. That's all he had to do is write him a check and be done with it, right? But that didn't happen. I'm not mad at nothing the Lakers did. I get it. But at the same token, if I'm a Laker fan, I'm upset because now you're going to try to convince me that we're trying to win a title and this is how we go about it. And your son won't be on. He probably won't even be on the team if they get to the NBA Finals. Well, he'll probably get on the team because his dad's on the team. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is, everybody knows that's why he's there. Just because Bronny made all McDonald's All American team doesn't mean that he's going to be a draft pick. And Kenny Jet Smith made that comment, and I had to disagree with him on that because there's a lot of guys that made McDonald All American that never even sniffed the NBA, right? Never sniffed the NBA. Don't sit there and try to make me believe that he was one of the best players in the country because he wasn't. I'm not taking nothing away from the young man. I'm not dogging him. I'm not. What I saw, it was enough for me to say he should be in the NBA. Because I saw a lot of other players that was better than him that should be in the NBA. Now people come back and say, well, I see it all the time, nepotism. I see it where you know this person, that person gets their child, this job, that job, this job, whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay, he gets in the job, right? But now he has to maintain the level of expertise in that job. How long is he gonna keep that job? And if the dad walks out the door the day of tomorrow, will he still keep his job? If LeBron retires tomorrow, Bronny James is getting cut. It's simple as that. It's just as simple as that. And I get it. And somebody said it's going to motivate LeBron James to want to play harder than he's ever played before. And I'm saying to myself, okay, I get that because he wants to have a special season with his son. But they're not better than 8 teams in the West. I don't even have to name them. There's 8 teams in the West that are not better than. You know, so I get it. I'm okay with it. I just don't agree with how it went down. But I'm happy for LeBron and his son to play together, you know. And so somebody said, well, Tatum may play with his son when I'm like, Tatum's not gonna stick around 20 years. He's not gonna do it. But again, LeBron has the money to be able to have his body in that type of shape, and that's where I have a problem with Embiid. Again, you have that money. Embiid signed a 3-year deal for $193 million. You telling me you can't get the machine that LeBron sits in and generates whatever he has to do to his body to make his body better to be able to play the game of basketball? Because LeBron knows that without basketball he would have never been anything. And basketball has developed. Basketball has gotten to the situation where money is not even an object for him no more. He has generational wealth. We're talking like 8 generations from now, that family gonna be taken care of. I get that. I understand that. And you would think Embiid would know more about this because of where he came from, where he had no running water, where he had no air conditioning, where he had to to leave Africa to go to Greece to live his life, um, so that his family wouldn't get killed. He, he had the hardest upbringing, even if he had his father's life, than LeBron ever had. At least LeBron had running water in his house. At least LeBron might have had an air conditioner in his window. You know what I'm saying? So if it got hot, it got cool. Embiid didn't have that. So that's what I'm saying. I think that's where it makes me upset with Embiid is that you have gotten Americanized so much that now the game that you say you love, you're taking a back seat to it, and now you don't want to play back to back. So he's saying he won't do it for the rest of his career. So how long is his career gonna last? And if I'm a fan, I'm upset. If I'm a fan of the Lakers, I'm upset because at the end of the day, you're not trying to win games. You're becoming an entertainment, and sports should never become an entertainment. I totally agree with that. Don't make sports entertainment. Make it a game, because at the end of the game, nobody should be allowed to to determine who wins or loses other than players on the floor. Simple as that. Real quick, I didn't get into Kawhi Leonard. We'll probably hit that next week. But I wanted to talk about the Boston Celtics and the ring they got. That ring is sweet. Oh my goodness, that's a nice ring. You know, and watching them play the New York Knicks, if I told you a team shot over 50% in the field and got blown up by 30 points, you'd be like, what? They did what? Hart said, yo, they need to be tested. He said they on steroids. Somebody need to test them. But what they did, what happened was fans, analysts, announcers, coaches, players said, "Oh, they had the easiest road to get to the NBA Finals." That's what you want to have. You're the number one seed. You're supposed to have the easiest road. Nobody said Golden State had the easiest road when they had the number one seed. Nobody said the Cavaliers had the easiest road when they was number one seed. Nobody said the Miami Heat had the easiest road when they was number one seed. But because of Boston, they said, "Oh, they got the number. They had the easiest road." Granted that you had players that were low management, that's not our problem. Embiid, I mean not Embiid. Porzingis played in the series against Miami. Didn't play no more until what, the finals. So what's the excuse now? But when you have a player that doesn't get to the Olympic team because of Nike, you get a player that goes on the Olympic team that doesn't play because he's not gonna play because the matchup is wrong. And he's the only American player that made the first team offense or first team all defense. I mean, first team all NBA on that team was Jason Tatum. Everybody else was international players, but Dana would hate to hear that. And then you do a DMP 2 games. What other motivation do you need other than that to prove to the league that, hey, okay, we're here to stay. We're not going anywhere. And guys, remember when I said I want the New York Knicks for the first game. I ain't want Philadelphia because they wouldn't. Philadelphia did not do anything to us for to reward them on the night that they would get the ring to play them. The only other team I felt they could have played would have been the Dallas Mavericks because that's what they played in the finals. That would have been a matchup to see. But they picked the New York Knicks, who I told my brother, I said, I want the Knicks bad. I want the Knicks. And they got the Knicks. And they wore the Knicks out. They wore them out. And I'm going to say this right now. Only thing I think that can stop Boston is Boston. And maybe injuries. To me, they look like the Golden State Warriors 2.0 that everybody plays defense. Where Golden State, we know Curry don't play defense at all. You know what I'm saying? So the defensive side of the ball is where they're gonna hang their hats on. But I'm looking for a very good, exciting basketball season. It's gonna be really fun to watch these guys play. Um, and I just think that you motivated a team that probably needed some motivation to win another title because you're saying they wasn't that good enough to win. So they're gonna prove to you that they can win back to back, maybe three-peat, maybe three-peat. You know what I'm saying? Because somebody gonna say, "Oh well, they can't do it again," and that's the only thing they're gonna do is motivate them more. You know, you're gonna motivate them guys more. Sometimes not saying nothing is the best thing to not say. You know, so it's gonna be a really good season to see how this thing pans out, guys. We're up on the hour. Go ahead, Matthew.
The way that you mentioned Philly, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, let's say Embiid's not doing well and he's injured again, like, let's say out for a couple of months, like before playoffs. I could see Philly potentially doing a trade with Portland and potentially get DeAndre Ayton on a cheap deal until Embiid were to come back if he were to get injured badly.
Well, see, they have what's his name there now, but he's more
Andre Drummond.
Andre Drummond. He's more of a defensive player than an offensive player. And right now they need offense because everybody's scoring points. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's scoring. There's no score. Look, halftime for the Pacers, they got 45 points because they play the Knicks. Knicks gonna play defense, so they're gonna make you work for everything. The Houston Rockets will have 45 points, but they got 5 minutes. They got 5 minutes and 17 seconds left in the second quarter. Chicago and Milwaukee are in the second quarter with 6 minutes and something. They got 42-49. So again, you look at everybody else; they're in the 60s to 70s. So scoring is going to be at a plus for anybody that plays in the NBA. That's what they're looking for. And then you got to play. You know, they always going to say the last 2 minutes of the game is when you got to close teams out. You got to play defense. You got to make that 10-2 run.
And don't forget the Pacers. They lost Wiseman for the season due to a torn Achilles.
Oh, I saw that. I totally forgot about that.
That's another reason why they were only at 45 points at the half.
So they may be looking to move some pieces too because they were looking big. They was hoping that would be a big piece for them to don't now I'm gonna say this. What I'm hearing too is that Kevin Love might be up for a trade. Miami's trying to get younger. And I think if they move him, I think Jimmy Butler. It's just a matter of time they're moving Jimmy Butler. But the thing about it is, Jimmy Butler's not going to a good team. They're going to trade him to somebody where they can get some draft picks and some potential players that can for the future. They're not going to give him to a team that has an opportunity to win a title. So what will end up happening is Jimmy might have to get released, or Jimmy might have to end up getting traded again. But at the same token, if you try to trade him again, you got to get the pieces that you want. You may not get back for him. So that situation is going to be kind of that. We better want to look at that situation as well. We really want to look at that Miami Heat. I know that there was possibility of maybe Jimmy going to Golden State, but then Golden State don't really have a lot of young players or draft picks that Miami want. And, Slick Hair Willie, he's trying to get everything he can get out of somebody. So that should be very interesting to keep an eye on.
Jimmy going to end up in the Clippers.
Ooh. You think so?
Kawhi Leonard's not going to play this.
I don't think. But see, the thing about it is, though, is the money part of it. Now you have to. Not saying that it can't happen. Not saying that the money can't match. But now you got them aprons. You got the aprons you got to deal with. And let me look at something real quick. Let me do this here.
I was going to say, how much time Jimmy got left on his contract?
I think Jimmy comes up soon. Like I think this might be his last year because your boy told me, he said, "Yo, we're not giving no money just to be just to play one or two games here." So let's look at Miami Heat. The Heat.
And then the other thing is Jimmy willing to take that cut off if he were to be traded to the Clippers because how the tax system is.
Yeah, Clippers, Los Angeles Clippers. So you're looking at I would say Terrence Mann. Amir Coffey, they expecting good things for him. And let's say Norman Powell. That's 34. That doesn't match either. See what they say. Trade fails. Clippers are over the luxury tax threshold. So what had happened is I just did 3 players for the Clippers. So the Clippers would have to give up at least 5 players to make that happen. And they're not going to make that trade in the middle of the season because that's going to put them behind the 8 ball. And now they got to find players to fill in that spot. And I don't think that's going to happen going forward. They probably would need a third team, actually, maybe a third or fourth team to get involved in this thing in order for that to happen. But I know that, again, I know when Golden State was talking to Miami about Butler, I know Boston was involved and Charlotte was involved, but they didn't say exactly how or who or what was going to be at stake in order for him to leave to go to Golden State. But now, I mean, the thing about it is, if you do trade him, you gonna want to get your money's worth, and teams are not going to give up a lot for him, especially if he goes to a team that doesn't, let's say they trade him to a team to get younger pieces that's not in a playoff run, right? So you as an organization, are you going to try to sign him to a long-term deal and convince him to stay because we're going to bring this guy, that guy, this guy on the team, and then we'll be competitive? It's going to be hard to do that because he's at the point of his career now where he wants to win, So I don't know if that'd be a good match for him. I think Orlando might be a place for him because they got some pieces that they can move around. They need some veteran with him and Caldwell Pope on that team. I think that would be a good fit maybe. But I think Jimmy needs to be he needs to be knocked down a peg or two because the comment he made in the season, if I played, Boston won't win. And Pat Riley said you gotta get on the court to find out if we would have won, And so that right there lets you know that Slick Hair Willie trying to win. He's not fooling around with Jimmy Butler at all, and he's basically saying, look, you're gonna play, and then we'll pay, but we're not gonna pay until you play because we're not gonna give you all that dough for you to say no. Exactly what that's gonna happen. Right now, it's in the top. This game going really fast. Top of the 4th is nothing. Dodgers have hit the ball out to the outfield a few times, and they just haven't got over that fenced in area.
And the weird thing is, after that game's over, they're going straight out to California again for Rutgers at USC.
Who's that?
Big Ten After Dark.
Oh, okay. So there's a game after this. It's going to be a game on after this one?
Yep. So after this game's done, they're going to do Rutgers at USC on Fox.
Oh, okay. I guess I think that might not be a good game. I think USC is going
to.
They might shellac Rutgers. But I guess they got to get the TV ratings up, man. All right, guys. Anybody got anything good for the day? So before I let you guys go, and I appreciate you guys hanging in with me to the day. Man, I'm telling you, I've been so tired this last week. When I get off this show, I'm going in my room, turn the TV on, and watch the baseball game. And I'm pretty sure the baseball game is going to be watching me. That's how tired I am. I am not physically, but mentally tired. This week with everything that went on in our school district. I'll tell you, it's just young people, man. They just got to get it together. So who we still got on the line with us? We got everybody out here. So Curry, give me something good. Give me something good for the people next week going forward. Curry, you still out there? Okay, I don't think Curry he's out there, but I don't know if he can hear me. Matthew.
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I had it on the move.
Okay. So give me something good going forward next year. I mean, next week.
Oh man, but I'm gonna have it to your Dodgers. They'll be world champions.
Okay. And college basketball about to start, right? Them Tar Heels, baby blue. Matthew, give me something good for the rest of the week.
Something good. All right. So tonight going into next week, my youngest brother Cameron, who's a nose guard out of Wallace, Idaho, tonight's his senior night.
You said your brother.
And currently, his stats are doing very well.
Did you say your brother?
Yep, my youngest brother.
Oh, okay.
I have two step brothers, but they live in Idaho.
So what's the chances of him getting? Did he got a chance of maybe getting drafted or free agency in the football?
Currently, if he does get any college offers, because with him and my middle brother.
Oh, okay. I thought he's in college.
They're on an 8-man
football
team because in the conference that they live in.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're doing 8-on-8 each week.
Is this?
But if he does decide to go to college, right now there's some NAIA schools that have interest, like Montana Tech and Montana Northern.
Okay, I thought you said he was in college, but that's why. Okay, I didn't see that.
No, he's a senior in high school.
Okay. All right.
And they're likely will be going to playoffs next week, I believe.
All right. Rich, what you got for us, man?
Good for next week. My Niners are off, so I don't have to stress. I'm thinking that my Bulls might win a game. We got this long road trip, circuit trip, so we might not get a win, but as long as we look better.
I agree.
But yeah, the Niners are off. Christian McCaffrey's back. Things to be healthy. We might even get Kufunga back. They keep saying, he's done for the year, but his agent said, even with the ligaments in his wrist, he's thinking about playing with the Cavs. Greenlaw and Dre Greenlaw coming back. So we get the defense together, we can make the move.
Okay. That's what it's all about, man. Playing good defense and putting your offense in a great opportunity to score. Even if it's a turnover, you gotta get 3. You gotta get 3. 3 If you get 3 over turnover, that's a 6 point swing because now they ain't got nothing. You got 3. They need 3, but they need 6 to win. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. I'm with it.
For me, Dodgers got to do the thing. Celtics is a good time of year for me. Dodgers in the World Series. Celtics won the championship. Only thing I have an issue with is right now my football team's not doing too good. The Browns they just not doing anything. But the Rams looked really good last night. Harrisburg Cougars we play our arch rival CD East tomorrow. They call the Panthers because they want to be like the Cougars, but they can't. We just call them little baby Cubs. Should be a decent game because they had a guy last year to run almost. He almost rushed for like 300 yards against us. In that playoff game, I missed the game because I wasn't feeling well, so I watched on TV. So I'll be there tomorrow. And hopefully we come out with a victory. If we win, I think we win the mid pin, which will be like 4 years in a row we won the mid pin. Then we'll be at I think a 3 or 4 seed, which they got 10 teams in the playoffs, so we get a bye the first week, and then the next week we get at least one home game, and we'll see how well this goes for us. This is a down year. We lost our quarterback.
Hey, quick question, Kev.
Yes, sir.
With your guys' high school football, when it comes to playoffs, what's the minimum losses or the maximum losses a team can get and still go to the playoffs?
I would say it'd be a possibility of maybe four losses they could get in. They could be
okay.
They could be like if they got 10 teams, 4 losses can get you in. And you don't get you will probably play this Saturday be our last game for the season. So that following week they will have the playoff game. So they will have like the way they're talking, the first 4 teams get a bye. So 6 through 10 will play each other. And then whoever wins that will play 1 through 4.
Nice. I was just wondering about that because last night my dad's high school was Spencerville, Ohio. They won against their rivalry against Delphus Jefferson in the Battle of Route 66, and they got a 5-5 record, and they're still going to the playoffs.
Now their team so we're 6A, so we're the highest classification you can go to. You have 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, 2A, and 1A. Now we got a team in Stilton that's one. I think they're 1A. They could lose. They could lose like 7 games to make the playoff because it's just that small. You know what I'm saying? And they won state titles last couple years. But they really had a good team. They had good teams the last couple years.
That's like currently here in Ohio. There's a high school that's in Division 7, small town called Marion Local, and they're on a 57-game winning streak.
How many students? What is your the numbers for how many kids are in the school?
There's a lot of kids. I want to say a couple hundred for the high school.
See, with us, it's
just because like there's small towns nearby, so like they combine all the small towns and they all go to the biggest small town high school.
See, with us, I think it's the number of kids in the high school, which we have over 6,000 kids. And if you have 5,000 or less, you're 5A. But you have some schools that are 5A.
Here's the weird thing with them too, real quick. I believe tonight they played against Coldwater, Ohio, which is like their biggest rivalry, and they said every year they have one of the highest 50-50 raffles when it comes to high school football in the whole country.
Wow.
And it's two farm town schools. Like both towns are probably a little bit over 1,000 people.
Okay.
But the 50-50 raffle, the biggest I remember, it was about 10 years ago, maybe even 12 years ago, and the 50-50 raffle was at $12,000.
Wow.
And what they had to do was they had to do 2 winners on that, and they can't collect the money until the next morning. With both local sheriff departments had to escort them to get their check and to take them back home in 24-hour protection service.
Wow. Wow. That's crazy. All right, guys. I'm going to let you guys go, man. Again, enjoy your rest of your weekend, as I will, probably sleeping, resting, and doing what I want to do. Because Monday will be here before you know it, man. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me again today on Friday. I will look at my schedule this weekend and let you guys know if we're back on Monday from 6 to 8. 6 to 8. Hopefully we can go back to Mondays, but it's a lot better. We got more to talk about as well. But again, thank you guys for hanging out with me again. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for listening to the Just Us Sports Talk Show. You have been entertained in the sports world by K. Diggs from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, the small city with a large heart, Dana the Hater Clark from St. Petersburg, Florida, and Murray E. Baskerville from Gotta Be More Careful, Baltimore, Maryland. Remember, we throw stones and we do live in glass houses. Big-time players make big-time plays and big-time games. Stay ready to be ready. You have been listening to an In the Zone Sports Talk Radio production. Remember, you can hear us again on star107fm.com on Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to download the Try99 TV app on any smart device and subscribe to In the Zone Sports Talk Television. The cost is $4.95. Thank you in advance for your support. Thank you for listening to the